There's this building method where you inflate a giant balloon, cover it with rebar, spray it with concrete, and 24 hours later you've got your home. Fast, cheap, reusable, but there's one big problem. Concrete. Responsible for around 8% of global CO2 emissions, can't we use something else?
Microbially induced calcite precipitation uses Sporosarcina pasteurii, a normally harmless bacteria, seem to have infested the brains of our friend Fabio De Sala. He has no idea what he's getting himself into.
Take off because it plays to put.
You don't know anything about the bacteria, honestly. You didn't read the paper correctly.
And so I looked into natural building methods, bioresins, and on one blog about geopolymers I found this TED Talk. It was about using bacteria to turn sand into rock, and for some reason that idea just hit me. Building a sandcastle, spraying it with some bacteria solution and watching it harden overnight. My inner child was lit up, maybe because I grew up on a sailing boat and as a kid loved to play in the sand. The sand was my Lego in a way. And now suddenly I was dreaming of buying a piece of land in Morocco, cooking up some bacteria in my van and spraying the bacteria solution, building roads, foundations and entire homes from the sand with the sand. So I reached out to Magnus Larsson, the guy from the TED Talk, and some other people of the field. No replies, so I thought I'll just order the bacteria. Turns out you can't really get it delivered to your house. You need material transfer agreements, a company, ideally a certified biolab. So I looked up the biolabs in Lisbon. I submitted a project pitch and a pretty detailed process diagram that I put together with ChatGPT. And somehow they said yes. I think it worked, guys. I think it worked. We bought the bacteria. I am so hyped. I realized that my original cost calculation from ChatGPT was completely hallucinated. I felt so stupid and ashamed almost that I relied on chat so much. So I started reading through real research papers. Oh guys, it's almost 1 a.m. and I'm still reading, what am I even reading? Low-cost cultivation of Sporosarcina pasteurii strain in food-grade yeast extract medium. Fun times. The cost depends largely on how often you spray the sand. The more spray cycles, the harder the structure, but the more money you spend per square meter. And every paper had wildly different results about compressive strength. I decided to reach out to scientists directly. I sent around 20 emails, got 3 replies. 2 of them said it's weaker and more expensive than concrete. And I always knew it wouldn't replace concrete for multi-story buildings or load-bearing structures. But for my dome homes, maybe 1 to 1.5 megapascals is enough. At the very least for foundations and roads, it should be enough. But if concrete really is stronger and cheaper, how could MICP ever compete? Time was ticking and I had to make a decision. Do I stop here or keep going? Am I falling for the sunk cost fallacy? That trap where you keep pouring time and money into something just because you already spent so much. I asked my girlfriend what she thinks, and she said that through action we always realize things we didn't know before. And there might be a chance that I'd discover something I hadn't even considered yet. So I gave myself a hard limit, 30 days. I contacted all bacteria suppliers in Europe, ordered the urea, anhydrous calcium chloride, made sure to buy the same yeast extract as used in the paper. Angel yeast, sent dozens of emails, finally got to a guy called YOLO Yi, what a name. Moved to Lisbon and met 2 biology students that were excited to help me on the project. We started buying gear, prepping materials, shipping everything in. For the first time it felt real, it felt like it was happening. Things were finally moving. It's day 2 of the biolab. I'm gonna have a call with a scientist, with a PhD student. With every day, the idea of doing this in a van moved further and further away. I completely underestimated how much time and effort it really takes to sterilize everything. You see, if you don't work in a closed, sterile environment, your bacteria can spread. And while mine are harmless to humans, the real danger is outside contamination. Other bacteria or fungi sneaking in, outcompeting my culture, and in the worst case, growing something dangerous. If MICP is more expensive, weaker, and 10 times more hassle than concrete, what the hell am I even doing? But I wasn't ready to walk away. I found papers proving it had worked in the field. I rebuilt my entire protocol from scratch, rewrote every step, reached out to scientists again asking for feedback. I ordered airtight containers, filled them with urea and calcium, last minute ordered some syringe filters, cause you're always missing something. Express shipping so it would arrive on the next day, because tomorrow was the big day. We'd prepare the medium and reactivate the freeze-dried bacteria. Even found a scientist who agreed to look it all over. It finally felt like things were falling into place. I was buzzing, barely could sleep that night. And then, just before heading into the lab, I had the call.
For 3.5 years, I'm working day and night in MICP and EICP. You don't know anything about the bacteria, honestly. Bacterial cultivation is difficult for you, and it costs too much for you. Think about EICP.
EICP?
Yes, EICP.
It was a tough call, but I took something out of it. You see, MICP stands for Microbially Induced Calcite Precipitation. The most common bacteria used, Sporosarcina pasteurii. Once grown to a certain concentration, you mix it into the sand and spray it or soak it with a solution of calcium and urea. The bacteria create an enzyme called urease, and that enzyme is what makes the magic happen. It breaks down the urea, triggers a reaction with the calcium, and turns the sand into stone. So you can basically use the bacteria to make the enzyme, but you can also do EICP, which stands for enzyme-induced calcite precipitation. You skip the whole bacteria and you start with the enzyme directly. And the best part? You can extract the enzyme by mixing jack beans with tap water in a normal household blender and filtering out the solid parts. And because you're not using any alive microorganism, everything is just so much easier. So yeah, I guess the advice from my girlfriend was correct. You sometimes realize things you can only realize when trying things out. But right now, it looks like the bacteria are going back to the freezer for now, and we will be building with beans. Subscribe to follow this journey, and see you in the next. Bye. Hey, good morning. Could you please send me the price quotes for buying jack beans in bulk?